Hi, my name is Rich Benjamin. Welcome to another episode of Smoky Mountain. Who are you and what do you do? Today, my guest is Miss Joy Maples, a dear friend of mine, and she is a fantastic marketer here in the Smoky Mountains. And she works for Connor Properties. Her job title is growth management. That's a very big term. What is growth management, Joy?
With our properties, we have a diverse portfolio of different properties for the tourism market, and my job is to kind of wrangle in operations and marketing together to give us the top return on investment while giving the number one experience to anyone who comes into any of our businesses.
Anybody that's ever worked in tourism knows that operations is a totally separate entity from marketing, and it's a smart blend to bring the two together so they communicate.
Yes, and we're really lucky. We've got a strong operations department at Connor Properties, and I just came in as the marketing piece to that, and we've got a nice little circle working together to give everyone the best experience.
So what properties do you have here in the Smoky Mountains?
We have got the Ridge Outdoor Resort, which is camping and glamping here in the Smokies. We have got Brick and Spoon Restaurant and Pigeon Forge. We just opened our Smoky Mountain Arena, which is an equestrian center, but can also be used for vendor events as well. So we're going to start branching out into that.
How big is the arena?
That's a great question.
Big. I drove by it. Take a barn and put it on steroids. It was huge. As I drove by, it reminded me of something you'd see in Texas. It is an arena.
It is a very large indoor event space, and we had our first event back in April of this year, which was the first annual Walking in the Smokies, which is a Tennessee walking horse event. And we brought in probably around $500,000 into the area for our first annual event on that.
Wow.
So we look forward to doing that every event. It's going to be in April each year. So keep an eye out for that. That's a very fun, different kind of event for this area. But it brought lodging dollars, restaurant dollars, shopping dollars. It's a good event for our entire area.
Very nice. So to lead into where we were going to go today, Joy and I have worked together for 10, 12 years.
Yes.
Roughly, we've known each other that long. Actually, Joy was one of our very first clients with RBA Marketing. They owned Resort Property Management, and Ray and I helped them build some of their first websites. And our core value has always been to try to teach the client how web works. I feel very strongly that if you own a business, you should understand what that website's doing. And Joy is one of the very few people really that has grabbed that and gone, full bore into web development and optimization and SEO. She is a fierce competitor. Let me tell you what, if she lined up across the street from me and we were going after the same client, I'd be a little concerned because she is that smart and that good. So we were going to talk a little bit about some tips for websites. So let's chat a little bit about web. And I know we both have a common love of analytics. I think that's where it all starts and that's where it all ends.
It is. Analytics it should be the baseline for everything you're doing. For your marketing, as a marketer, you want to look at your analytics. It tells you everything you need to know. It's your way of listening to your client. It's your way of finding new clients. But you want to listen to that information, and then your job as the marketer is to tell a story to make people fall in love with your brand that you're pushing with the information you're getting from your analytics. So you're pulling your own emotion out of that, and your feelings and your opinions. No matter what.
Opinions have no place in analytics.
No.
I say this all the time. Numbers don't lie. They can be deceiving or they can be misleading, but they don't lie. If you really pay attention to what's going on, you know what that customer is looking for when they come in. You start looking at the number of pages they go to. You look at what information they're looking at, and then you realize maybe I should feed them some more of what they're really interested in. And that's where sites tend to bloom and blossom.
Exactly, because when you do that, it tells you all the information you need to know for your entire business platform. It tells you the information they're interested in looking at. It tells you how they're finding you, what they're looking at you on, how long they're with you, where you lose them at in your site. So you can do your SEO, which is your search engine optimization. You can pick your pay-per-click keyword marketing targeting from that. It also gives you the information for your social media. Everything you find on your analytics and website that they're looking at, so now you know what is your strongest subjects to go into your social media posts, which ultimately everything in marketing is a big circle to me. So it needs to be a continual circle, everything working together. So use your analytical information to do your SEO, your PPC, your social media, your email, your pages that you're building out on your website. And you will be untouchable if you will just continue that and just kind of take your opinion out of it and your feelings.
To back up just a little bit, we're talking about Google Analytics. There are many analytics programs out there, and Google Analytics are a free service that you can use through Google, which is a core value. Yeah, there's a lot of extra things in there that you don't really need. I look at visitors coming in, I look at the length of stay, and I love it when a product or a company has a online sales module. You can dial it in. I mean, that's how many dollars you are making every day off those visitors, and you just watch them very closely. And that is where I spend a lot of my time when I'm looking at, and you can look at anything. I mean, but like Joy said, it is a circle. I used to equate it to a baseball field. You put a blog or a post on, and you're sending traffic out to first base, and you're hoping it gets to second base, and then something in social media grabs it from second base and assists it around, and the whole goal is to come back to a conversion, whether it's somebody who's buying your product or somebody who picks up the phone to call you who wants to know more about your product. And you're right, boy, it is a circle all the way around, and if you do pay attention, it's amazing. When Joy's talking about PPC, she's talking about pay-per-click advertising. Some people go after that, some people don't. We used to be really heavy on the organic side, which is build the content on the site and let it grow. But we found that there has to be a balance. There really should be sometimes. You'll have some people that buy your name. How many times has that happened to your company?
A lot. Yeah, they'll buy your name. So then there you are spending money on your own name again.
Yeah. The other companies will buy your name to put their ad above yours or above your listing. But most people understand those first few listings, their ads, they're sponsored. That's how Google makes their money. I think they make, 96%, Ray? 96% of Google revenue comes for their pay-per-click ads. So that leaves a very small portion that they're getting from anywhere else. And they're very serious about that. We experimented on a couple of joint projects, and I know we discussed things. I really like Bing as a pay-per-click service, and we would compare the two. Did you do the same thing?
We did the same thing. It is pennies on the dollar in comparison. What we would spend $500 on Google, it's worth it too on Google, but we would spend $10 on Bing. And for us, what we have found, same return. And
Google's proud. They're very proud.
Yes.
It's like Gucci.
They are proud.
Yeah, they are. You're paying.
And you have to participate with them. It's not
you can't leave them out.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
But we have found for our businesses, we get it's a little bit different. Our Bing people are willing to pay just a little more money for the product.
You don't see the large numbers, but you do see
Yes.
equivalent purchase. They'll pay more. You'll wind up with less numbers. But Bing is on just about every mobile device. And when people ask me, well, what do you mean? Oh, sorry, Joy. I'm just going to pick up my phone. On my phone, I have Google Chrome. And I had to bring it in and download the app. Let's take my mother. On her phone, Bing is what was standard. She has not changed that. A lot of phones, whether it's an Android or an iPhone, come with that browser that ties it back into Bing. So it's smart to spend a little bit of attention over here because just of the number of phones and who's out there.
Yeah, so you don't want to ignore it. I mean, just invest a little time and money into your Bing, same as you're doing your Google, because it does make a difference for your local SEO especially.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. Local SEO starts with getting your own listing on Google. It's not hard. You just need a business listing. And I was surprised the other day. I had somebody that asked me to look at their website. They're with another company. He said, "I'm just not seeing the results that I think I should have." And when Ray and I went in, the first thing we noticed was there's no local listing. This is a local business provider, and the other web company just built them a website and said, "Here you go." They didn't put in a business listing that helps you. I mean, it doesn't take that much more, really. It's maybe an hour's more work, and it ties everything together. I call it the Google game. It's just like that circle you were talking about. There are many things that you should do, and one of the ones we were discussing earlier was photos.
It's my pet peeve in life.
It's true.
Don't be lazy. I mean, so if you're going to the trouble of taking the picture, of uploading the picture,
And putting it into a
website or a social media post or on an email campaign, anywhere, if you're using that,
Before you upload it.
take the 2 seconds and name your photo, put in your SEO terms.
Yep. Or you name your company.
Or put your company name.
Yeah.
Something, because
RBA marketing.
yes.
Video production. And there you go. That's all it takes, because when somebody looks for video production, your name comes up.
Your name comes up.
Most of you have photos that say,
Well, the number of infinity might be on there.
image dot seven. It would be img.765.
Yes.
If you Google that, you're going to come up with a myriad of photos that have never been named, and they don't tie back to you in any way. So take the time.
Yes, take advantage of all the real estate that you can online. But yeah, that's my number one pet peeve.
And the other thing, size your photos accordingly.
That is
Some
his
people
pet peeve.
take them right out of a camera, and it's as big as a billboard, and you're trying to shove it into a VW bus. And everything on a website comes down to speed.
Yes.
So if you take this huge image and plop it down on a website, it literally just goes, and it'll crawl. And you've got to move fast. Today, everything's about speed. So you have to, and that's part of optimization. When you hear that mythical optimization, it is being meticulous with your data and meticulous with your behavior in what you do. Optimization is many things.
Yeah, and the whole point of it is to give the best user experience.
Exactly.
So if you're not optimizing your website, either yourself or optimizing any of your marketing, across the board, all marketing needs optimized.
Take the big photo. If the client comes to your site and you have 30 of these monster photos, your site's going to load very, very slowly. And what will they do? They will leave. What do you think your mobile percentage is when somebody's on a phone versus a computer these days? Probably 75, 80%.
At least, yeah.
And if it doesn't load quickly on a phone, you've lost that customer. Everything that you've done to get them to your door, they're not coming in, they're not buying, they're going to the next guy. So you've got to have it so your door opens quickly, they see your world, and you have a great experience for them.
That's and I call that eye time. So if you're not seeing it in the blink of your eye, you've got a problem and you need to readdress it.
Yep. And one of the last statistics I heard probably 2-3 years ago, folks have an attention span of 8 seconds, which I'm sure it's less now, just because of social media. Social media, you're constantly scrolling. What catches your eye and makes you stop? With the advent of Facebook and scrolling and Instagram and scrolling, I'm betting it's 3 to 4 seconds that you have to grab the attention of the potential viewer and get them to stop.
Yes. So your photos are important because that's your first visual. So everybody needs to take time on their photo. And on, especially like on email campaigns, name your photos. Just put your titles in your photos, because what a customer sees that is not getting, the visual.
If it doesn't open up immediately and they have to click to open it.
They're seeing whatever that name of that picture is. So.
And that .765 means nothing to somebody, but if it says the Ridge Outdoor Resorts, you still have a chance for them to open that email. And on to emails. man, that is one thing that I'm incredibly passionate about. When I go in with a potential client, I ask them, so how big is your email list? And many of them say, we don't have an email list. And I will have a panic attack, and I'll tell them I'll have the attack for you, because how do you communicate with the last person that was here? Your last guest is your next best guest because they wanted what you had. You need to grow those people and constantly cultivate them and treat them special. You really do. And you have some of the best email campaigns. Very quick, very short, but they're what the people are looking for.
I love emails. They're probably one of my very favorite things to do because it is a very personal connection with your guest or your customer, whatever it is you're trying to communicate with. So, and it needs to be very quick, very to the point, and capture their attention, because your whole goal in your email is to get them over, like in my case, is to get them over to my website. You choose each campaign might be a different conversion. You might be getting them to be a fan,
Yep.
to follow you on social media, or to book a certain thing. I highly recommend landing pages for every email. That way you can really monitor it on your analytics as to what's truly happening. So again, take the extra time.
Build that landing page or have your webmaster build that for you. You need to know these things. When we're talking about build that landing page and you're going, wow, that's more money I have to spend. When's the last time that you got a customer without any effort? It takes certain actions to grow your business. This is a smart action. Build that landing page so when they come into your website, you don't just send them to the home page and hope they're going to get where you want. Your email was very tailored to a certain aspect, whether it's, hi, we have a new kiddie pool, and you send that email out, you build a landing page all around that kiddie pool with a reserve now, or, buy a gift certificate, whatever. Your goal is to get them to go somewhere and to purchase and or stay on your site longer and explore.
And that's the whole purpose in all of that. So it's important just to take the time to do the smaller steps up front so you get the biggest return on investment. There, you don't need to be sloppy or lazy in your marketing.
A lot of people do. Well, they don't understand that. And that's why we're here today, is to talk about how to be smarter at what you do.
Yes. You just need to pay attention. One thing, this was probably the hardest lesson for me to learn. I had to really take my opinion out of everything. My opinion didn't really matter. And once I did that, I started seeing such a better return on whatever I was sending out. The analytics tells me what I need to be doing and how to talk to my people looking at my stuff.
The moment I had that epiphany, I was working for WonderWorks, and we were spending a lot of money in advertising on billboards and Intercept. And as I walked through the building one day, I heard this fella on the phone. He's talking to somebody, and he goes, "Hey man, you got to come down to this big upside down White House in Pigeon Forge, greatest thing I've ever seen." And I went, "Oh, please say the name." And I walked into the lobby. I'd been in the back, and I walked into the lobby, and there was a woman saying the same things on the phone. And I realized my opinion of the name didn't matter. It was, how are the people going back and communicating to their friends? And as soon as I started putting that upside down White House, upside down house, Pigeon Forge, big white upside down house, I would sprinkle that in. I didn't overwhelm everything with it, but man, our numbers went through the roof on traffic. So that's what Joy's talking about. Your opinion has nothing to do with it. When you take yourself out of it and you're listening to that consumer,
it's a
that's
big
powerful.
Story. And I worked with someone previously, and this is probably the best thing I took away from them was, you can't deposit your feelings into the bank. So
wow, that is really
I was
good.
like,
one more time, you can't do what?
You cannot deposit your feelings into the bank. So
that is some serious
that's
business
when I learned
advice.
to pull my opinions out of it and go based on what analytics is telling me, what the customers are saying. And analytics, there's a lot of platforms out there. You've got to be watching everything. You need to be looking at your Facebook insights. You need to be looking at your Instagram insights, your Snapchat, your, as a marketer, you've got to learn a lot of platforms all the time.
Yep.
And you can weed out what's not going to work for you on what you're doing, and they all don't work for everything.
Correct. And I have a lot of small businesses that'll ask me, they'll say, "I don't have the time to do all these." Pick one. You pick one and you own it, whether it's Facebook or it's Instagram, but you pick one that you can manage. Don't try to be all things to all people if you're small. You just can't. It's very
Correct.
time consuming. Social media is unbelievably time consuming, isn't it?
It is very time
It
consuming.
never sleeps.
Yes, and you're always trying to what's trending now, what's the next best thing. So you've got to be prepared for all those things. And there's a lot of very cool, useful tools that you can find out there if you're a small business, you're trying to do all these things
Exactly.
yourself. I recommend looking at those places, follow them, read them, study them. They're giving you great tips. There's a lot of free services
Yeah.
that you can look out there and find to use as well, that you will get a lot of return on, and it will teach you and it will educate you, and it brings a whole new understanding to the table and allows you to get your story across and make people continue falling in love with your brand.
Yep, exactly. And some folks will say, well, how do I start learning Google Analytics? It seems a little intimidating. Google it and watch a video. That's it.
Yes, you can watch it. You can watch tons of videos on YouTube.
Or you
for
can
all
call
those
me and I
things.
will help you walk through it.
Yes.
And I just sat with a guy today. We're building a website. I'm really proud of this. I'm huge into the veteran thing, and I'm all American. And we're building a website for a Vietnam veteran that was in a squadron. And I was talking him through the website and how to build it, because he wants to put his own data in because he has tons and tons of data. And the moment when the epiphany happened and he realized, what he could do, he actually went, oh my gosh, he could see. And that's a great moment. And now when we put analytics with that, he's a businessman. He's going to be thrilled that he can see who's using his website, what part of the country are they from. You can look at their age demographics, and that's going to be the big thing for him. He's looking for people that are probably 65 to 85 years old, because his goal is to start communicating about what happened in the secret part of the Vietnam War. So he needs people to interact with him, and that site's going to be his catalyst.
It's a great thing. Analytics, I love them. It is a complicated relationship because there's a lot. If you really delve into it and take the time to learn it, there's a lot. But my gosh, it is a treasure chest to your business.
Yep.
It truly is. I cannot push hard enough.
When you get to the point where you understand your keywords, when you see what people are asking for, and they'll tell you in Google Analytics, people type this word to find you. They type this, and you start looking and you go, huh. You start adding those terms in, and you see your site start growing. I was telling you, I'd done some consulting with one client, and they could not stand something that was said. And they said, rip those words out. And I said, oh, are you sure? And they said, yeah. And I showed them statistically, we were trending up as soon as we took those keywords out. I mean, we just went boom, down in the bottom. And then they said, put them back. And then we had the slow train back up the hump. You have to be very careful. And I'm sure when you're talking about the circle and the plan, you need to really look at what you're doing and stay on top of that. You don't need to wait a year, 6 months, 3 months. You need to be on that every couple of weeks and looking.
Yes, it's a constant. You cannot be stagnant.
You and I are there daily,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I mean, yes. I'm actually loving analytics right now. They just released a new model, and I was just talking to Rich about it.
I hadn't gotten there
I know.
yet.
It's
But
so
go
cool.
ahead and throw
Well-
into that. What have you seen with the new one?
Oh, I don't even know how to explain it. Maybe Ray could do a screenshot.
More data, more data, more
There's
data.
more data. Yes, I mean, I live, eat, and sleep, data. But it gives even more information. It's very cool. I highly recommend everyone go check that out in Google Analytics.
Now, when you started, how did you feel when you started in web? Were you intimidated?
Extremely. I was scared to death. I was like, oh my Lord, there's no way I could possibly learn this. It was very scary. It is intimidating because, the unknown is always intimidating.
Yep.
Rich and Ray taught me tons on the web. I'm sure I drove them extremely crazy many times.
Yes. Well, there were a few moments, we're not going to lie, but you know what? I would rather have somebody in there hacking and slashing, trying to go somewhere.
That's
My
what I
mother, on advice, my mother gave me the best advice I ever got once. She said, make a decision, right or wrong, any decision is better than no decision. So if you're going in the wrong direction, at least you'll figure it out and go, okay, I can turn and go back the right way. So you have to go after it. You cannot sit there and just kind of stare at that box and go, well, I hope it works.
Yeah.
Praying does not work with web. I've done that a lot. It does not work in web. That's for people. You need to be active in what you do on your website.
You do. Constantly changing, constantly growing it, constantly adding new content.
Look around. If everybody else looks new and you look old, you're old.
Yeah.
Yeah, freshen it up. New photos, new content. Yeah, just when we say content, written words are content.
Yeah, anything. Photos, words, blogs.
Videos.
You name it. You can always add something to your website.
Mm-hmm.
And, WordPress has made it pretty, it's much easier to learn web now than it was years ago.
Yep. I am not a coder. Now, Ray behind the scenes,
Coder.
crazy coder. I'll sit there and watch him write languages and then stuff appears, and it's amazing to see what he can do. But WordPress allows you and I to work as the average person. There was a point where I was working, again, for a client, and my webmaster at the time, I would ask him to put information up. This is before WordPress, and it would take 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I would give him a month, and my window of opportunity to get the information out, we had missed every deadline that I was trying to get to. So when I saw WordPress, I said, you mean I can fix this and I don't have to wait? Mm-hmm. And that's what we do. And that's how you and I got together. We showed you how you could go in and manage your own elements on your website. And it's been a great relationship because, there's things Joy will find and we'll have a discussion. And just like the new analytics, I'm like, oh, really? I didn't know. There's something new. And you're constantly collaborating and coming up with cool stuff.
And, that's marketers should do that. I tend to find a lot of marketers are they're closed off, like they are acting like this is Fort Knox and they're not giving you any information. You should never be in fear of your marketing. You should never be in fear of whoever's handling your marketing. That should be a very open communication and an education process for you, because any business owner should understand how that's working.
Oh, yeah.
So they can actually appreciate or not appreciate the return they're getting.
They can understand what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if marketers would collaborate a little more and have maybe a little more open relationship, I think that would be quite eye-opening for everyone.
We have tried to do that because when I became a marketer, I was a director of marketing and I switched sides. I came across, I said, look, I can make a living and do a good job doing the same thing. And I found the very thing you were talking about. Most agencies are like, these are my secrets, and we're very bohemian here. We just, okay, let's talk about what's the best idea. How can we execute this and do some really cool stuff and grow your client base and make money for you? And that's how we like to operate because, if you meet us on the street, normally I'm wearing shorts and chacos and very, very casual.
Yes.
And yeah, we work hard and we play hard. And a lot of the stuff we wind up doing is around construction sites. It's hot, it's dirty, or we're in a place where there's a server. It's hot, it's dirty, and I'm going to be comfortable wherever I am, So when we get down to it, you have to have that conversation and that meeting of the minds and genuine respect between client and agency, or it doesn't work. You've got to have that. It really, really will excel if you're using an agency. That would help.
That I definitely recommend that because marketing is just a place of growth, of collaboration, and a way of, again, you're just trying to make people fall in love with whatever it is you're selling.
Ask thousands of questions. That's the best thing you can do, and learn. An agency shouldn't be upset if you're asking questions.
No. And, as a business, you can use your social media. We use our social media a lot to figure out what it is that like, what would you like to see our business do next? What would you like to see us offer next?
That's a
We ask the people who are spending their money with us because that is ultimately who we're trying to get to spend the money on whatever we do next. So, we ask those questions. We have a very open dialogue with our clients, customers, and I think that's why we're successful. We pay attention, we listen, and we give them what they want in the best way possible. Like, it is 100% important to us to give the best experience from whatever they read, however they find you, and it needs to be honest and truthful. Don't lie in your marketing.
Oh, dear
That's
God.
my second pet peeve.
Well, you'll get burnt to the
Yes.
ground
Tell
when
the
they
truth
catch you.
always.
Yeah, never ever say anything untruthful or misleading on purpose.
No.
You'll get burnt at the cross on that
Yeah.
one. Social media is a great place to experiment, like you said. It's quick, and you get very quick results. You can see what works and what doesn't work at any given point. So
Social media is awesome for that. I'm an instant gratification junkie. That's why I love analytics so much. But I use social media to
no
feed
joke.
that.
Joy will push an email, and she'll call us, and she'll go, "Hey, look at this!
I'll send
Look how many
screenshots. I'm
people
like,
are on right now."
There's 700 people, I'll
Yep.
send screenshots. And, so the rest for me, I'm trying to duplicate that all the time, which is, semi-unattainable.
You're setting the bar for yourself. We compete against ourselves, really. I mean, yeah, I can say that I compete against other agencies. I don't. It's me and my client, and we are, with whatever we're bringing to the forefront, I'm competing to see if I can push bigger numbers. That's where you really get that
Yes, that's why I love
giggle.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's a good time. Anything else, Miss Joy, that you would like to throw a tip out about web social?
Just be transparent in what you're doing. Tell the truth. Be passionate about whatever your product is. All of that feeds through and it comes through. If you are truly passionate about what it is you're trying to get across, it will come through in everything you do, which will, whatever your definition of a conversion is for that, it will happen because it comes through in what you're doing.
Excitement breeds excitement. If
Yes.
you're excited about it, the people on the far side will be very excited about it.
Yes, exactly.
That's why they're on social media. They want to see something, feel something, do something. Yep.
Agreed.
Well, thank you so much. Is there
You're
anything
welcome.
else you'd like to say today?
No, thank you for having me. It's
know,
been a great relationship. I
Joy
love it.
was so worried when she came in here. She said, "I heart you guys because I don't go on camera for anybody." So I want to say thank you so much for Joy for trusting us to come in here today and have this wonderful dialogue. I've been wanting to do this forever.
Thank y'all. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Joy.